Hi and a very good evening to all of you. Welcome to Adda 24/7 English Medium. This is Arushi over here, and today we will be discussing, obviously, today's current affairs, but today the Hindu edition was not released. You all must be aware about that, right? So, but still, we have news from Press Information Bureau. Sunday edition, that is Sunday all press release of the Press Information Bureau, and the Sunday newspaper of the Hindu we will be covering today. So stay tuned and let us begin with the news of 15th of January 2023. Yesterday was the Indian Armed Forces Day. The Indian Armed Forces Day was celebrated yesterday. You can have a glimpse of this DT News video on the Indian Armed Force Day. It was basically the event. The event is usually held daily every year on date 15th of January. The Indian Army Day is celebrated on Cariappa Parade Ground, New Delhi. This year it was held in the city of Bengaluru. MEG Center in Bengaluru, the Indian Army Day was celebrated in order to gain more traction, in order to gain more attention that, okay, this year we are moving away from the National Capital Region and we are celebrating the Indian Armed Forces Day in the Bengaluru city. So that happens to be a very big deal. And why? One reason that you need to know that why is the Indian Armed Force Day? Why is the Indian Armed Forces Day celebrated only on 15th of January? See, the Indian Army was established by the British on 1st of April 1895. Note down this date. Note down this date that the Indian Army was founded by the British Indian government on 1st of April 1895. But why do we celebrate it on 15th of January? Is the reason because Field Marshal Kadendra M. Cariappa, he was sworn in as the Commander-in-Chief of the Free Independent India, the first Indian to hold this position after the last British official who was there, General Francis Butcher. He left the position of Commander-in-Chief and it was handed over to Kodendra M. Cariappa, K.M. Cariappa. So K.M. Cariappa, very, very interesting fact about Mr. K.M. Cariappa, late K.M. Cariappa ji, is that number one, the slogan Jai Hind. We always, you see IPS officers, you see the Indian Armed Forces people, they are talking to each other. They sign off as Jai Hind, right? The Jai Hind slogan was first found by General Cariappa only. So Jai Hind means victory to our nation, victory to India, victory to Hind. Number one. And number two, second most important fact is Mr. Cariappa happens to be the only two Indian Army officers. They hold the 5-star rank of Field Marshal. Only two Indian Army officers hold the 5-star rank of Field Marshal. One is Field Marshal Cariappa and the second armed officer is Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw. You all must have heard about him. So Army Day is celebrated every year on 15th of January to honor the commitment of the Indian Armed Forces to the nation, to celebrate the brotherhood, to celebrate their selfless service and their sacrifice. And this year, away from the National Capital Region, the Indian Army Day was celebrated on MEG and Center in the city of Bengaluru. So another important fact that you should be knowing about the Indian Army, that in 2021, in the year 2021, Global Firepower Index, the Global Firepower Index ranked the Indian Armed Forces as the fourth most powerful force, ranked the Indian Armed Force as the fourth most powerful force in the world actually. So you can see top 5 powerful armies of the world, and India ranks above France. France, that is a member of United Nations Security Council. France, that is one of the P5 countries. India ranks above France to be the 4th strongest army of the world. So that is, a lot of parameters are considered by the Global Power Index. So remember this point. Remember this point. Another key point is that government arms civilians in the border villages. So there is a news related to village defense committees. Now the government is thinking, the government in the Jammu and Kashmir, the LG of Jammu and Kashmir, and even the central government of India is thinking to revive the village defense committees or the village development committees that were first initiated in the year 1990s during the Kargil war. It was again very soon it was disbanded in the year 2000, but the idea behind the village defense committees and the village development committees and the village defense guards, they were taken from the battles 1962 Indo-China War, 1965 skirmishes, 1971 Indo-Pak wars. They led to the formation of village defense committee. So what happened was, in the Doda district of Jammu and Kashmir, I hope you all know the Doda district. So the Doda district of Jammu and Kashmir, the government and the ex-servicemen and the able-bodied youth in villages, they formed the border to guard against the infiltrations of the Pakistani spies. Later on, Supreme Court ruled that, okay, these village defense committees, these are not up to the mark. Why? Because, again, it can be misused by the civilians. The Supreme Court ruled out that the state, that is the central or the state government, it does not have the authority to hand over arms to civilians and give them the right to kill. And after this ruling, the village development committees and the village development guards were cancelled. They were called off. But now the government is trying to revive them, to rejuvenate them because of increasing rate of infiltrations in the Jammu and Kashmir region. All right, so prompting, basically you all must have heard about the throes of the Kashmiri Pandits. They had to flee the villages because of there was literally a mass exodus from their hometowns and villages to urban settings, sometimes outside the state. To control that, the village development committees, they were formed in Udhampur, Raisi, Rajouri, Pooch, Kathua and Samba districts of Jammu and Kashmir, later on dismantled, but now the government is thinking. So now you can see you can definitely look at this image where the women are learning how to fire. Women are learning how to fire power the CRPF camp in Rajouri districts. All right, so upcoming next is a very interesting, very important news is about Dr. Didis. So who are these Dr. Didis? Who are they? Alternatively, they are also known as Pashu Sakhis. Alternatively, also known as Pashu Sakhis, Dr. Didis form a very important wing of a project commenced under the National Rural Livelihood Mission. A very important project. Good evening, Kiran. How are you? Most welcome to the session. A very important project conceived under the National Rural Livelihood Mission. It was taken up by Jharkhand. It is funded by the World Bank. So these Pashu Sakhis, these are actually trained women, informally trained women service care providers or animal care service providers. So this is an initiative of what? This is an initiative of animal care service provider. Animal care service provider, wherein the women are trained in a range of services like deworming the livestock, vaccinating the livestock, ensuring whether the livestock is is the livestock being maintained in proper hygienic conditions, what are the breeding and the feeding patterns, how is the animal waste being managed, from everything are being taken care of. So you all must have been aware about the Anganwadi workers. On similar lines are these Pashu Sakhi workers, and the project is in fact funded by the World Bank, and the World Bank suggests that 50,000 farmers have benefited from the Dr. Didi program. And another interesting fact that has come up is that because of the contribution, because of the services provided by these Pashu Sakhis, the mortality rate of goats have come down by 30%, and the mortality rate of poultry has come down by 40%. So it is a 3-level 30-day training program wherein poultry, goats, pigs, as many as 30 Pashu Sakhis have been receiving training from Agriculture Skill Council of India. They have been receiving training from the Agriculture Skill Council of India, and they have been going from farm to farm, from one farmer to another farmer, ensuring that the livestock care and hygiene is being updated, is being taken care of on a regular basis. All right. So yesterday and day before yesterday, many people celebrated it yesterday, many people celebrated it the day before yesterday. We have the Makar Sankranti festival. Makar Sankranti, what do you understand by Makar? Astrologers call Makar as Capricorn. So basically we all know Earth has 3 important latitudes, that is the Tropic of Cancer, we have Equator, and then we have the Tropic of Capricorn. And Earth rotates around the Sun with an axial tilt, right? So because of the axial tilt, the positioning of the Sun also changes, and when the positioning of the Sun changes, it changes during this time of January. The Sun is actually traveling, or it's changing its position with respect to Earth from Tropic of Capricorn through the equator and coming back to the northern hemisphere, that is the Tropic of Cancer, right? So Makar Sankranti is being celebrated to welcome the sun, from in the Tropic of Cancer region, right? So that is why it is known as Makar Sankranti, and it is celebrated. The holy festival of Makar Sankranti is celebrated across India through many festivals. We have the Hindu festival of Makar Sankranti. We have the Lohri festival. Again, Hindu, Sikhs both celebrate these festivals. We have the Pongal festival, also known as Thai Pongal festival, mostly seen in southern parts of the state. Right, you all must have heard it is a very, very popular Thai Pongal festival. We also have the Makar Vilakku festival at Sabarimala temple. So Lord Ayyappa is worshipped for 7 good days. So this Makar Vilakku is again celebrated to welcome the Makar Jyoti, that is the sun traveling back to the topic of Capricorn. So basically what happens is, this is the sun, right, and this is the Earth's orbit. So this is the region, this is the North Pole and this is the South Pole. Why? Because Earth has a certain axial tilt at 66.5 degrees to its orbit, right? So this is the northern hemisphere. When the northern hemisphere is basically facing away from the sun, we here in the northern hemisphere, we experience winters. And when the Earth travels along its orbit, and again when the northern hemisphere faces towards the sun, then the positioning of the sun comes back to Tropic of Cancer. That is the idea. That is the idea behind Makar Sankranti. So why am I telling you about it in so much detail? Is because you saw yesterday's paper on SBI clerk mains, right? Many people were asking, many people were complaining that the questions were asked in depth. So a little bit in depth, a little bit in detail, a little bit detailed study of the syllabus will do us no harm. Okay, it'll only build upon our knowledge. West Bengal government is likely to spend 150 crore on Ganga Sagar Mela, says minister. Who is the Prime Minister? Who is the, Chief Minister of West Bengal? You all know, Mamata Banerjee, West Bengal. See, Ganga Sagar Mela. First of all, what is Ganga Sagar? Ganga Sagar beach is the place where the holy river Ganga enters the Bay of Bengal Sea. Okay, so it is the confluence of river Ganga into the Bay of Bengal in the West Bengal. So it is basically in the Ganga Sagar district. It is the Sagar beach. Okay, and every year during Makar Sankranti, a huge gathering of people can be seen in that region. There is a huge mela. People take dips in the holy water, river Ganga, and the festival is also seen up. It is a great opportunity and a very big platform to so many shopkeepers, to so many local artisans, weavers, to showcase their talents, showcase that. So in order to make the most of this festival, to economize this festival, to help as many people as we can, the West Bengal government will be spending 150 crore on the festival. Okay, so you all must have, if you all have not been to Ganga Sagar, you should at least go there because it is a very, very holy beach. And basically, we have the Kapil Muni temple, as you can see in the photo over here, right? In the picture over here, this is the Kapil Muni temple, which is basically worshipped in the Ganga Sagar during the Ganga Sagar festival. Okay, so yesterday I was analyzing the SBI clerk mains paper. There was a question, where is Kumbhalgarh located? You all know the answer, it is Rajasthan, right? So here also we have the Kapil Muni temple. It can as well be asked in the question. It can be asked in the exam, where is the Kapil Muni temple located? See, Indian art and culture happens to be more and more, it is becoming more and more important as far as the static GK portion is concerned. All right. Nilgiri Sanctuary. We have a certain aspect related to the Nil. What is Nilgiri Sanctuary? Can you see a photo on the screen? Can you see this? Blue flowers, bluish to purplish hue colored flowers covering the mountains. Have you heard about the Nilgiri Hills of the Western Ghat region? Nilgiri Hills, very, very popular. So the name Nilgiri Hills derived the name Nilgiri from these Nilgiri flowers. Now, these Nilgiri flowers, as far as these Nilgiri flowers are concerned, a very, very interesting fact about these flowers is that they bloom only once in 12 years. Right? They bloom only once. In 12 years, these Nilgiri flowers will bloom only once. So, they give their name to the Nilgiri Hills. They bloom only once, and there has been a long-going demand. It was tabled in the year 2006, and 16 years down the line, there is no substantial measure taken to this regard to form a proper Nilgiri sanctuary in the Idukki district, even though we also already have the Nilgiri, or we also have the Kurunji Mala sanctuary of Kerala. It is also there in the Idukki district. They are actually demanding a proper Nilgiri sanctuary over there. So that is why it has been in news. Not that it is very important, but some of the important facts, some of the important static GK portion that we should be knowing that is associated with this particular news is, number one, it gives its name to the Nilgiri Hills. Purplish to blue flowers bloom only once a year, right? And also there is a Kurunji Andava temple that is located in Tamil Nadu, dedicated to God Lord Murugan. Lord Murugan, or the Tamil god Murugan, is offered these Nilgiri flowers, and in that way, through religion also, we are protecting these already protected plant species. All right, and another very, very interesting fact, that there is a certain tribe in Tamil Nadu known as the Paliyan tribe. Right? We have a tribe in Tamil Nadu. The tribe is known as the Paliyan tribe. Now, this tribe uses the blooming period of Nilgiri flowers to determine its own age. Because these flowers will bloom periodically after 12 years, they will use this Paliyan tribe of the Tamil Nadu state will use the blooming period of these flowers to determine their own age. Good evening, Robin. How are you? Welcome to the session. Okay, so we also need to understand, again, let's come back, let's go ahead with the next important topic of the day, that is L20. So there is a meeting, Labor 20 meeting, L20 meeting will be held in Jodhpur district of Rajasthan. In Jodhpur district of Rajasthan, Labor 20, that is G20's meeting on employment is termed as Labor 20. G20's meeting on employment will be termed as Labor 20. International Labour Organization will be the international agency that will be overlooking. Yes, Yes, it blooms only once in 12 years. So it will be overlooking this L20 meeting, ILO, talking a little about the static portion of International Labour Organization, talking a little about the static portion of ILO. ILO is basically an international organization that was formed much before the United Nations. It was formed as a part of the League of Nations in the year 1919. It was formed as a part of League of Nations in the year 1919. Then ILO became the first secretariat and the specialized agency of the United Nations in the year 1946. 1 year after the UN was established, it is headquartered in Geneva. And recently International Labour Organization, it released its report. It released its report it released its Global Wage Report 2022. A recently released report by the International Labour Organization is the Global Wage Report 2022, which basically it states that overall the world, there has been a downfall in the wage rate. That is a -2% negative growth seen across wages all over the world. Now, this is the global reduction of the overall global average wage rate. Talking about the Indian economy, what has been the reduction of wages in the Indian economy? So it is astonishingly very, very, you will be surprised to know that even during the lockdown, even during the Russian-Ukraine crisis, Indian wages remained quite resilient, showing a growth of only -0.2% in the time period of 2019 to 21. The Global Wage Report also goes on to say that because of inflation, there is a certain level of pressure on basically on daily consumption expenditure. So that is one aspect. So everything, all the issues that are related to labor, that is related to wages, that is again related to supply chain. Good evening, Aradhana. That is related to supply chain disruptions during COVID-19 pandemic. And it is also related to the spillovers from the Russia-Ukraine war. It is also related to the spillovers from the Russia-Ukraine war. Everything will be discussed in this particular event in Jodhpur. So when the event will take place, I will definitely update you as to what were the proceedings of the event. But recently also G20 meeting took place related to infrastructure. A recent G20 meet was held in Pune related to infrastructure. We will be discussing that in the upcoming slides. Another very important news of the day is Rajasthan happens to become the first state in India to issue its own blindness control policy. So basically this important policy has been issued under the Nirogi Rajasthan This blindness control policy has been issued under the Nirogi Rajasthan campaign. So Rajasthan's Chief Minister, Mr. Ashok Gehlot. Mr. Ashok Gehlot issued the Nirogi Rajasthan campaign, and under this campaign, there is a policy, there has been a policy that has been issued to control blindness, and along with the blindness control, the policy or the campaign issues a particular right to sight, to every citizen of the country. So it will ensure blindness control with the objective of the right to life, to bring lives of to more than 3 lakh people, because there is a high rate of prevalence in blindness in the Rajasthan state. One interesting fact I'd like to share about Rajasthan is that the water of Rajasthan is contaminated with uranium. Uranium happens to be a fuel used in nuclear power technologies. I know you all know that, right? Can we somewhere connect that because of unhealthy water, because of the hard water, because of water salinization and the prevalence of uranium in the water of Rajasthan, is it because of that there is high prevalence of blindness in the state? Do let me know in the comments below. Do let me know. Here's a food for thought for all of you, because it's a general awareness session and the title is India and the World. So know about the nation, know about the world, everything in and out. So be generally aware. Be very, very strong with your static GK. Banking and financial awareness, we are planning a completely separate session related to that. All right, so we also have the Medical and Health Secretary Prithvi Raj. He also said the state government would mandatory run keratoplasty centers for cornea transplant. So again, yesterday we saw that superceuticals, who all know about superceuticals? Superceuticals are actually pharmaceutical treatments powered by AI. Vidisha happens to be the first state in the country to implement the concept of 5G startups. We'll probably discuss that news once again. So again, keratoplasty centers are basically the centers that are used to treat blindness and issue cornea transplants. All right. Another important news, that is a report by PricewaterhouseCoopers and Association of Microfinance Institutions of India. PricewaterhouseCoopers happens to be a non-governmental organization in the US, right? And it has released a report that microfinance institutions or the microfinance institutions, they have a lot of scope to offer a financial support system to the low income group or the LIG group in India. They offer a lot of scope to offer LIG India. Okay. Kadavul. Okay. Good evening, Kadavul. Most welcome to the session. All those of you who are new to the session, and if you want to prepare for SBI Clerk, IBPS PO mains, and all of these exams, do subscribe to Adda 24/7 English Medium, right? And we will keep updating you with everything. Today only the IBPS exam calendar was released. I hope you all attended the session. We will soon be sharing a detailed timetable and a study plan if you are a full-time aspirant, if you are a working aspirant, if you are a college-going student. What should be the right strategy for each one of you? We will be discussing that. Good evening, Nandu. Most welcome to the session, Nandu Shakya. And all those of you who are new to the session, do subscribe, give it a like, and share it with as many people as you can who are your colleagues, who are your peers, may be preparing for current affairs, right, for SBI. All right, thank you, Anshika. So what basically is a microfinance? How does RBI define? If there was a certain benchmark, if there was a certain definition, okay, this category of loan is a microfinance loan and this category of loan is not a microfinance loan. Now, RBI has in its one of the circular, RBI has set a criteria. RBI has set a criteria that a microfinance loan is essentially a loan that is given out to individuals, that is given out to people, that does not exceed. There are two basic criteria noted down. Number one is 3 lakh. The total amount of the loan should not exceed rupees 3 lakh. Number one. And number two, second important criteria is there should be no collateral. There should be no collateral attached to that microfinance loan. These are the two very basic criteria issued by the Reserve Bank of India. LICAAO is also out. Yes, we'll take that up for sure. These are the two criteria. So the loan should be within the limit of rupees 3 lakh lump sum, and there shouldn't be any collateral attached to that microfinance loan. Only and only then that will be categorized as a microfinance loan. All right, suppose there is a loan for say rupees 50,000, suppose there is a loan for say rupees 1 lakh, but there happens to be a collateral that is attached to it. I hope you all understand what is a collateral. If you do, comment a yes. Okay, so if there is a collateral even for a rupees 50,000 loan, that will not be categorized as a microfinance loan. I hope it is very, very clear as to what is a microfinance loan. So MFI industry, PwC or the PricewaterhouseCoopers and Association of Microfinance Institute of India, basically it is predicting that MFIs will play a very significant role in India's economic growth, is basically because MFIs are starting to adopt good evening, ma'am. MFIs are starting to adopt digital infrastructure and digital support in order to ensure that they're adopting a digital route by online delivery channels, by mobile banking, by e-wallets, that they're paving the way for the sector to adopt digitalization to a large scale. Right, so basically low-income group member people, individuals, farmers, street vendors, these happen to be the customer base of microfinance institutions. And one of the biggest challenge, one of the biggest hurdle that these microfinance institutions face is that the physical mode of loan taking, the physical mode of lending and borrowing, it has become a hurdle. So now it is adopting the digital route. It is taking on with the technological integration to provide services as far as repayment and the collection systems are concerned. Okay, Australia deal could open more doors to Indian pharma firms. Australia happens to be one of the biggest market for the Indian pharmaceuticals. Why? See, let me tell you one very, very important fact related to it. 55% of India's pharmaceutical exports, they go to highly regulated markets of the United States, highly regulated markets of the United Kingdom. So without an approval from the US FDA, that is Federal Drug Association of the United States of America, without the approval of US FDA, no cosmetic product, no medical device, no pharmaceutical, nothing that is even eatable or edible can enter that country. And Indian pharmaceuticals, generic or even patented drugs, they happen to surpass all the licensing criteria and the standards of highly regulated bodies like the US FDA. So Indian pharmaceuticals have kind of a goodwill name all across the world. And 55% go to the highly regulated market. Now, as far as the Australian market is concerned, here Australian deal, when we are talking about the Australian deal, what is that Australian deal? That Australian deal is basically free trade agreement. The free trade Indo-Australia that Australian deal is associated with Indo-Australia free trade agreement. Alright, so 12% of generic drugs and 18% of the over-the-counter drugs. So total amounting to at least 14 billion US dollars. Total amounting to $14 billion. That is the amount of drugs that we export to Australia, including generic, including over-the-counter, including patented. So Australians, they do not care. They just don't care whether the drug is a generic drug, whether the drug is a patented drug. Even if they have to shell out an extra from the pocket, they will go ahead and do so. So that is why it is a very sprawling market. In 2020-21, India's firms, they export to Australia. India's exports to Australia were worth 387 million, and that is only the pharma exports. You can see $14 billion dollars of total pharmaceutical exports from the Indian economy, of which a significant share of $387 million exports going to Australia in 2020-21. Isn't that significant? Anuradha, Robin, Nandu? India is also the origin of Ayurveda. Yes, and we are globalizing the Ayurveda medicine. We also have the World Center for Ayurveda coming up in Gujarat. All these perspectives happen to be very, very... So when you start thinking in that line, when your thought process completely changes and it is integrated with the happenings in India, with the happenings with the world around, when you start thinking like a policy maker already, then the facts need not be mugged up. You already know them. Right? You already know them. So that is the beauty of general awareness. It not only makes you knowledgeable, but it also makes you informed, and it also changes the way you think. And my agenda of these sessions is to inculcate that thinking process within your conscious already. So yes, we will discuss in detail about what the Indo-Australian deal is about. American qualifier Lauren Davis, she has won her second WTA, that is World Tennis Association title. American qualifier Lauren Davis has won this for the second time after a 6-year drought. She swept the Italian Elisabetta Cocciaretto at the Hobart International Final. Hobart International Stadium is basically a stadium in Australia, right? And the World Tennis Association tournament was taken there. And the finals were faced between Lauren Davis and Elisabetta Cocciaretto. So whenever we are reading and covering the sports news, it is not only important to remember the name of the winner, but it is equally important to know who lost the match. Sometimes they do ask who lost the match, or sometimes they ask, there can be a statement-based question. So IBPS PO mains, when you will read general awareness, you will come across most of the statement-based questions only, right? Not statement-based questions like option 1, 2, 3, 4. No. There will be a certain question, they will give you a fact, and then they will ask you that, okay, WTA title winner was Lauren Davis. Whom did she defeat? And then you will get the options. So Italian player Elisabetta Cocciaretto was defeated in the Hobart International Finals in Auckland. And in Auckland also during the Auckland match that was held in the 2017, also the winner was Lauren Davis. So this is basically her second WTA title. The first WTA title was won by Lauren Davis in the 2017 WTA final that was held in Auckland. Where is Auckland? Let me know in the comments. Where is Auckland? Let me know in the comments. And this is her second title that she is winning. All right. Again, our country has 8 Vande Bharat Expresses now. Now let me know in the comments, Anuradha, Robin, Nandu, Kaduwal, whosoever is watching me live, who have travelled the Vande Bharat Express. Who have travelled the train Vande Bharat Express? How was your experience? Let me know in the comments. No limit, absolutely no limit. We will definitely start taking quizzes. We'll start taking quizzes on the IBPS PO pattern soon. Very nice. It is located in New Zealand. Okay, and this time the WTA finals was held in Hobart International Stadium, Australia. 2017 match when Lauren Davis won, that was there in New Zealand. Okay, and she belongs to which country? She belongs to USA, and the opposition, the final she was battling with was a player from the Ireland. All right. So 8th edition of the Vande Bharat Express was introduced from the route of connecting 2 states, that is Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, right? Connecting the 2 states of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, basically connecting Sikandrabad to Vishakhapatnam. So from Sikandrabad to Vishakhapatnam, who all is from Andhra Pradesh? Who all lives in Andhra Pradesh? Who are all from Telangana? Let me know in the comments. From Sikandrabad to Vishakhapatnam, we already have a Duronto Express running, I guess, 10 hours long journey. So the Vande Bharat Express will basically reduce the journey time to 8 hours 14 minutes or so. Vande Bharat Express is concerned, we have Vande Bharat Express now that is there in 8 routes. Right? We have Varanasi New Delhi route, we have Katra New Delhi, we have Mumbai Gandhinagar, we have Delhi Andaura Vande Bharat, we have Chennai Mysuru, we have Bilaspur Nagpur, we have Howrah New Jalpaiguri, and the 8th one, the latest edition, happens to be Sikandrabad to Vishakhapatnam. Alright, so this was some of the static part that you need to know. Now, learning a little bit about the train. What is Vande Bharat? Also known as Train 18. It is a very, very important train for our country because it is India's first effort. It is the first effort by India as a country to indigenously manufacture its own semi-high speed train. It is indigenously manufactured semi-high speed train, semi-high speed locomotive. And what is basically the speed of the train? You have been to New Delhi Katra. Very nice. How was the experience? It travels at a speed of 145 to 160 km per hour. It travels at a speed of 145 to 160 km per hour, giving an aircraft-like experience to the passengers aboard. Okay, very nice, very nice. Some of the important features that are there in the train, Vande Bharat Express, some of the very important features that we have here is that the train has basically, it has an inbuilt anti-train collision system. The train has an inbuilt anti-train collision system. You all must have heard about Kavach. You all must have heard about Kavach. Who has heard about Kavach anti-train collision system? किसने सुना है इसका नाम? Would you mind if I speed a little bit hints of Hindi in the channel? Because I think it helps us connect more on a deeper level, right? Kavach is an anti-train collision system produced by BARC. Okay, Bhabha Atomic Research Center, BARC and DRDO together. We have anti-train collision system Kavach that prevents the collision, right? It is equipped with state-of-the-art safety features. It has superior aircraft-like traveling experience. It protects the passengers from a ultraviolet air. It has an inbuilt ultraviolet air purification system in the train. Right, so we also have, these were some of the features, and the very first edition, do you know, क्या आपको पता है, the very first edition of Vande Bharat Express or the train 18 Express was manufactured at the integrated coach factory at Chennai. So that is the significance. The cost of, can anyone guess how much amount would it have taken to manufacture one Vande Bharat Express? Can anyone guess the amount and tell me? The amount was rupees 100 crore. Okay, I think I do need a PPT changer now. Another important aspect, so we are celebrating the startup. Today is basically the Startup India Day. Okay, today we are celebrating the Startup India Day. And again, we also have Startup India Week going on. Startup India Week, 7 years, 100 crore, yes. 7 years since we launched the Startup India program. So we have a 7-day series that is going on. Atal Incubation Centers, you all must have heard about the Atal Incubation Centers. It is a 2-day mega startup event, 15th to 16th January. Okay, and also a 7-day industry focus series that will focus on channelizing the private investments into startups. It will focus on channelizing private investments into startups. Okay. So here are a few details that you need to know from the exam point of view. That is, number one, magic. What is magic? Magic is Marathwada Accelerator for Growth and Incubation Council in Aurangabad. Can anyone tell me what is incubation center? What is an incubation center? An incubation center is basically a system. The very word incubation. Incubation basically means to nurture something, to help something grow, right? When you start up with a job, you enter a certain level of probation period, right? There is a certain level of probation period where the organization, it will try to look at your work. If the organization, if it happens to like you, it will help you grow. It will nurture you, it will train you, right? It will train you. So that is basically a nurturing process. It will be a nurturing event. Likewise, startups, any any person who has an idea. Suppose I have an idea, I have a product, and I want to get off with my own startup. So I will say that, okay, before taking a full-fledged risk, let me see how will my startup perform. Let me see what kind of probable mistakes can I make. And because I am a single entrepreneur, I need someone to fund me. I need someone to support my business idea. And that supporter is known as angel investor. That supporter is also known as venture capitalist. So when we'll study the SEBI circular, we will see that there are angel investors, there are venture capitalists, right? In a controlled environment, the startup is given a chance to grow. The startup is allowed to make mistakes and learn from it without the fear of any upcoming losses, any huge loss. So that is what it is associated with. Nurturing innovations and startup. The very name of the program is Nurturing Innovation at Startup at Veer Mata Jijabai Technology Institute. That is there in Mumbai. And WT India Champions Chairperson. WT India Champions Chairperson is basically an initiative that encourages women entrepreneurs, women who might be interested in coming up with their own startups, right? So we have interaction meeting of women entrepreneurs under the WT India Champions, and the chairperson of this W20 India Champions happens to be Dr. Sandhya Purecha. Dr. Sandhya Purecha. These were some exam related facts. Another very important exam related fact is Ministry of Culture and the Government of India has collaborated with SPIC Mackay. It has collaborated with SPIC, SPIC Mackay, to host a multicultural event. So SPIC is basically an international non-government organization that was formed in the year 1977, and it aims to promote the world heritage, that is the heritage across the world and the heritage that is there in India. Yes. Shark Tank is also a program for entrepreneurs, for budding startups, for unicorns, for cheetah, for gazelles. There are basically 3 types of startups. Okay. Shark Tank India is one of them. So basically all the Indian classical dances, music, folk, yoga, meditation, crafts and other aspects of Indian culture will be associated with the movement. In 1977 it was started off, and Music in the Park and Shruti Amrut series will be taken up at Nehru Vihar in New Delhi. So there is this music festival going on, and whomsoever who is in Delhi right now can go ahead and attend the festival. Okay. Now this is the news from the Press Information Bureau that we are discussing. So the Union Minister of Jitendra Singh has said that the entire country will be covered by a Doppler weather radar network by 2025. Doppler weather radar network will be covering the entire country by the year 2025 to predict extreme weather events more accurately. So we have certain district agro meteorological units, right? We have district agro meteorological units will be installed in as many as 660 districts by 2025. The Union Minister of Earth and Sciences also said that the prediction accuracy of IMD has increased a lot by 40 to 60%. So we are definitely moving ahead towards a certain sustainable future. We are moving ahead to sustainable, effective disaster mitigation. Right? As you can see from the last point, we have the flash flood guidance in 2021. It was introduced in 2021, and since 2021 till 2022, the number of watersheds. So basically, river systems and watersheds. Watershed is basically an area that is flooded by a certain river. It can be Ganga river, it can be Brahmaputra, it can be any big or small river, Chambal, Son, anything. That is a watershed. And suppose it is a cross-country watershed, right? Like Brahmaputra river, it also travels to Bangladesh. It also enters India from China, Tibet, right? So we have watershed basically, and there has to be certain level of information sharing between two countries if a river is transcending the boundaries of two nations. And the number of information sharing rivers that were covered, they have increased from 30,000 to 1 lakh. And it is not only benefiting the country, but it is also benefiting our neighboring countries, our immediate neighbors like Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh. A similar system has also been installed in the country of Sri Lanka. Okay, so we also have agri-automated weather stations that will be dedicated. We also have the Doppler weather radar system, which are actually a very, very accurate weather prediction system. Doppler weather radar systems that will be covered in the state of Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, another important news for the day is G20 Infrastructure Working Group meeting was held in Pune, Maharashtra. Yes, true. Ganga watershed, Robin, is India's largest watershed. What is Asia's largest watershed? Can you tell me? Can you tell me Asia's largest watershed? We also have an international body based on that. It is based on the names of two rivers. So in Pune, Maharashtra, we have the Infrastructure Working Group. The theme of the Infrastructure Working Group, that is the G20 meet theme, was financing cities of tomorrow, inclusive, resilient and sustainable cities. And it was co-chaired by India and Australia. It was co-chaired by India and Australia. So it is basically an initiative to ensure resilient infrastructure. It is an initiative to ensure to make cities future ready, to adding a certain level of climate resilient, to adding a certain level of disaster resilient infrastructure. All right. So not Afrikaans, no. Afrikaans is the language, I think, in South Africa, Pretoria, they speak it. It is Mekong River, okay? It is, Nile is the largest river of the African continent. I'm talking about the Asian continent. It is, you must have heard about the Ganga-Mekong Cooperation. It is a cross-cultural, economic, trade, transport, tourism related cooperation. Mekong happens to be the largest river that is fed by the three important rivers of China, travels through Asia, flows into the Bay of Bengal. Okay, so this was the G20 meet agenda about that was held on 13th of January in Pune, related to infrastructure development, and one of the key components was the domestic outreach or the Jan Bhagidari component of this G20 meet. Okay. We also have the Union Labour and Employment Ministers, Shri Bhupendra Yadav. He has laid the foundation stone for 100-bedded ESIC hospitals. What is ESIC? Employee State International Indian Corporation. What is ESIC? Employee State Insurance Corporation. It is basically a statutory corporate body. Employee State Insurance Corporation is a statutory corporate body. It is incorporated under the Employee State Insurance Act of 1948. It was established under the Employee State Insurance Act of 1948, Employee State Insurance Corporation. So basically it implements the ESI scheme, Employee State Insurance Scheme. Okay, and it comes under the Ministry of Labour and Employment. It works under the Ministry of Labour and Employment. Three agendas are covered. One is the medical benefit. Full medical benefit is given to the employees covered under the ESIC scheme. The contribution towards the ESIC, the premium contribution is again determined by the ESI Act 1948, that is amended from time to time, updated, because the government contribution to the insurance premium is updated from time to time. Okay, it also ensures sickness benefit. Sickness benefit is covered to the extent of 70% of the wages. We also have the maternity benefit cover. We all know about the maternity benefit week. It is given for 26 weeks, right? That is also covered. Again, we also have the disability benefits. So recently our honorable Prime Minister, he inaugurated, or he laid the foundation stone for 100 bedded ESIC hospitals in Agartala, Tripura. So a video related to that. I hope you can hear it. Okay, so this was the last.
Cash crops like rubber and tea. The state is also known for its handicraft, particularly hand-woven cotton fabric, wood carvings, and bamboo crafts. For the benefit of ESI insured workers and beneficiaries, the state today is laying down the foundation stone of a modern hospital in Agartala. The proposed hospital would be run by ESIC directly, and it will be the first ESIC hospital in Tripura. This is an important step taken by the Employees State Insurance Corporation towards providing better health facilities to the ESI beneficiaries in the state. The new 100-bedded ESIC hospital will spread over an area of 5 acres in Agartala. The land has been provided free of cost by the government of Tripura for the hospital. The estimated construction cost of this hospital is around 100 crores and it will be completed in 3 years. The hospital will have all the modern facilities like modular OT, state-of-the-art medical equipment, etc. This hospital in Agartala will cater to and provide medical services to more than 60,000 beneficiaries in the catchment area. The hospital will have both OPD and IPD services. The hospital will play an important role in the Prime Minister's vision for a healthy and prosperous India. The foundation stone of this hospital is being laid today by Shri Bhupender Yadav, Minister of Labour and Employment, Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India. Chief Minister of Tripura, Professor Dr. Manik Saha, is the chief guest for the event. The foundation ceremony is having august presence of Sri Rameshwar Tej, Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Oil and Natural Gas, Government of India, Kumari Pratima Mohammed, Minister of State for Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India. ESIC also welcomes Sri Ratan Chakraborty, Speaker, Legislative Assembly, Tripura, and MLA, High-Court Constituency, Sri Bharat Chandra, Minister, Department of Labour and Employment, PRDP, Welfare Department, of Tripura, Sri Chairman, Panchayat Samiti, Old Agartala. Along with this, ESIC heartily welcomes all the dignitaries and persons present in the ceremony.
All right. Okay, so this was it for today's current affairs. I hope you all thoroughly enjoyed the session. It is an audio-visual mode of learning. I will try to include more and more such videos so that you can get your grasp at static knowledge. Okay, now before ending the session, from this session also only key takeaway, testing your presence of mind. Let me know in the comments who is the Chief Minister of Tripura, number 1. Another second important question is related to Muga silk. Muga silk is also known as the golden silk. Muga silk, also known as the golden silk. In which state is this golden silk located? In which state is this golden silk, the Muga silk, is found, is cultivated? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your wonderful presence. Each and every session of mine is made all the more better, all the more beautiful and wonderful with your presence. So keep gracing these sessions with your presence. Keep learning, keep growing. All the very best. Take care. And do not forget to use my code. My code is Y580. If you use my code Y580 on Adda 24/7 application, any and every competitive exam that you want to prepare for or want to buy the course of, you will get a 78% discount. Thank you so much for watching. Till then, see you in the next class tomorrow sharp at 5 at the Adda Express. Take care and bye-bye. Thank you, Anuradha. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, everyone, for joining me.